Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a research report that makes a pretty wild claim. It suggests you can heal psychological trauma using a principle from quantum physics. Yeah, so let's see what this is all about.
So, right off the bat, here's the big question this report is built around. Can a machine actually heal something as complex as trauma? It's a huge claim, and it's exactly what this device we're about to look at says it can do. So, does the evidence they present actually stack up? Let's take a look.
All right, so the report focuses on this 54-day study with 2 volunteers and this little device here called the TraumEZ Harmonizer. The whole point was to test what kind of effects, if any, it had on them.
So what is the TraumEZ Harmonizer supposed to do? Well, according to the documents we're looking at, its purpose is, let's just say it's pretty ambitious.
The main goal, as the report puts it, is to create a harmonizing environment. The idea is that being in this space helps a person neutralize all those internal conflicts we deal with. We're talking stress, trauma, anger, you name it.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The theory behind this thing? It doesn't come from psychology or biology. Nope. The report says it's based on a concept from quantum physics. The report calls its core concept quantum entanglement. Now, we've got to be clear. This is the report's own interpretation of that term. They describe it as a state where two things, like the device and a person, get energetically linked up. So, if you change one, it instantly affects the other.
And to help you wrap your head around that, the report gives this analogy of a mother's intuition. It suggests that this is the kind of deep, energy-informative connection it's trying to create between the harmonizer and a person.
So, here's the bottom line. The claim is that this device works by transferring information. The whole purpose, according to the report, is to rebalance a person's energy field and get them back to what it calls their primal vibration.
Okay, but how on earth do you measure something like that? I mean, how do you put a number on a feeling or a vibration? Well, the report lays out a very specific method they say does exactly that.
The technique is called BESA. That stands for Bioenergetic Informative Systems Analysis. And what it does is measure energy states at 40 very specific points on the nail folds of your fingers and toes. And this is the scale they use to make sense of the readings. Everything gets sorted into these different zones. So for example, a score between 2.0 and 2.39 is considered optimal, but a really low score gets interpreted as an energy deficiency.
All right, so that's the theory and the measurement system. Let's dig into the actual experiment and see how they put it all together.
The report gives us a detailed look at one subject they call Proband 2. He's a man who had ongoing knee pain from an accident. And here's a fascinating little detail. The report says that in this BESA system, the knee is actually linked to feelings of not being fast enough or not good enough.
So what they did was actually super simple. It was a 3-step process. First, they did an initial BESA test to get a baseline reading. Then, the subject just sat with the harmonizer for 30 minutes. And right after that, boom, another BESA test to see if anything changed. So the million-dollar question, what did the measurements actually show? Did a 30-minute session really make a difference you could see in the numbers? Okay, get ready for this. In that first before test, a staggering 97% of the BESA measurements for Proband 2 were in that degenerative or energy deficient range. 97%. And this chart really paints a picture of that initial state. I mean, look at all that blue. Almost everything is in the degenerative range, plus another 5% in what they call total deregulation. Based on all this, the report concluded the subject had a severe lack of energy or high stress.
So, what happened after that 30-minute session? Well, the report shows a pretty noticeable shift. The degenerative measurements dropped by 10 points. But, and this is the really wild part, the measurements in that balanced, green range, they increased 6-fold, jumping from just 2% all the way up to 12%.
So the study presents these numbers as a big improvement, a kind of proof of concept for the device. And it leaves us with this really compelling thought. What does it really mean to measure a feeling? Can something like an energy field truly be measured and then changed? It really makes you wonder about where technology, physics, and our own well-being might be headed next.